They're guys. They do magic. They are the Magic Guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 130. Can you believe it? We're here again for another banger. To my left, I've got Nick K.
Good evening, friends, and welcome to the show.
Yeah, and Doug Kahn is away lecturing, being a magical wizard professor himself. So he's not here today, but I know he is here in spirit, and he will be probably popping up in the comments below. But look, you guys are not here to talk to us, but we're going to be here anyway because it's our podcast. But how are you, Nick, anyway, before we jump straight into this?
Dude, it has been a wonderful week. Oh, so good today. It's been a wonderful week. I had like 6 gigs over the weekend. It was so busy. I'm entirely stoked about our guest today. I could have been. Yeah. You look in the comments, people are equally as excited as I am. I'm so pumped to be here.
I'm loving it. So you guys already know who this is. He's one of the most viewed magicians online in the world. Not only that, but you know, he's done the actual magician dream, which is to have a show in Vegas. He's touring. He's done it all. He's from France. That just makes it, you know, even better. And we're going to bring him on right now, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, Xavier Mortimer. Here he is in the flesh.
Hi, guys.
If we just if the studio audience can just settle down, we can get started. There we go.
A big thank you for making time for us today. We can totally appreciate a man of your stature having the schedule that you have being so entirely busy. So a big thank you from not only us Magic Guys, but all the Magic Guys and gals watching the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Well, thanks for having me. I wish I could go to Australia and do it with you guys.
You are welcome anytime, my friend. I have a couch. It's yours.
Awesome.
I think I remember this was like 6 years ago or maybe longer, but have you toured Australia? I seem to remember a flyer of yours in Brisbane and the promo was you like sideways on a wall or something. Does that ring a bell?
Oh, no, I never toured Australia. I went to Adelaide a long time ago, but that's it.
Adelaide, yeah, right. Okay. Yeah. Maybe it was a newspaper article. I remember seeing something and I was like, who is this guy?
Was that part of the Fringe Festival by chance when you were in Adelaide?
Yeah, I was there for the festival, but I was 20 and it was a long time ago, so no big fancy stuff. But I loved it. I really love Australia.
Hey, come here, man. We're all ready for you. You know, when you get a chance to not be so busy.
Yep.
So you came...
Yeah, far away, Josh.
Yeah, so, you know, getting into it, I was listening to your podcast you did with a Las Vegas interviewer, and he was talking about how you, from France, you came to the US to do the Michael Jackson one. Was that the timeline of what happened? Or you'd come here before that?
I started much before that. I had my own show in France, and I went on France Got Talent. I was doing good, and Cirque du Soleil was like, "Hey, would you like to be in a show with us?" It's funny because actually, I was in the theater school in France. I did the clown school, and at the clown school there was this poster of Cirque du Soleil saying, "Hey, we're looking for people," and I was like, I don't know, I was 20 or 21. I was like, this is never gonna happen to me. It's too big. It's like Cirque du Soleil, you know. And 10 years later, they just call me and they're like, "Do you want to be main character in our show?" I was like, "What?"
That's amazing. So, you know, one of the things that I'm truly in awe of is that you are so well versed in more than one facet of entertainment. For example, you can dance, you could do clowning and everything else. One of the questions that was sent in by one of our guests was, what do you think, as far as maybe 5 skill sets that a performer should have? I mean, magic is one thing, but I think that it goes a lot beyond that. Should you be able to improvise? Should you be able to act? Should you focus on breath? Like if you're doing more Ovner type learning of clowning, could you please share the 5 skills that you think all great performers like yourself should have?
Well, I think it depends mostly on what format you're using. If you perform in theater, if you perform in front of the camera, if you do close-ups type of things, there's different like skills that you can get. For example, if you're on stage, and this is what I started. I went on stage when I was like 14, 15 with my first magic show, and I felt myself. I was like, this is awful. And I was like, you need to learn how to dance. You need to move your body so it's like beautiful to look, you know. And so I went to the ballet dance with the kids and everything. And I mean, I was already I was passionate about music and the arts of the stage in general. So I had conscience. I was conscious of like the magic is just a little part that is on top of it, and it's real for stage, but for every aspect of magic, the magic is just a little cherry on top of like who you are and your character. So I learned dancing, and then I was pretty good with my body after a few years, and I did a residency in a theater in France, and the guy was like, "Yeah, your magic's pretty cool, but man, you're acting." I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna learn acting." So I went to the clown school in Paris, in London too, and I spent a year. I stopped my shows and I just learned like how to act and be physical on stage. And I think like music is going to give you the rhythm for your act. Like if you have the music, you're going to find the tempo of your beats, because what's important when you have any performance on camera or on stage is the beats. It's how you maintain the attention of the audience, how you tell your story. So music gave me the beats, dance gave me the elegance of the body, and acting gave me the relationship with the public, the audience, or who I am, what do I want to say. So basically, I started with those three pillars that gave me made me who I am now.
So there's music, there's dance,
and acting.
So that's really interesting, because I was never professionally trained in like the form of acting or whatever else, but I do have a wonderful mentor who did study chlamydia and you know, is actually aspiring to go to Japan and do more training of that nature. And the thing is, you can really seek these types of like influence from everywhere. Because when I was doing my first real show at a magic festival, at the Melbourne Magic Festival, I studied and watched lots of cartoons, and one in particular was Horton Hears a Who. And I just loved the way that all of the characters moved in that way. Because when you're looking at an elephant who doesn't really have a great range of movement, being able to actually present themselves, quite funny. Like, so when you start looking at that sort of thing, and more importantly, going with breath as well, also equally as important. That's really fascinating to actually do all that. But the thing is, you don't have to go to a proper school to do that. You just got to look around and understand that, and just take the advice from good people like Xavier.
Yes.
Also, I remember when we were chatting a few weeks ago, Xavier, you mentioned, because we're talking about musicality.
Yeah.
Are you allowed to talk about what happened at the Michael Jackson one in regards to like when they needed to reconstruct the?
that was really interesting. So I write all of my music, and so for my shows, I was used to like go with the beats and say, this is what I want. It has to go slow and fast, and then go into a little thing. So I went into the Michael Jackson show and I said, look, I have already my music for my dancing cane and my acts. And they say, yeah, but we have to use Michael Jackson music. They used Billie Jean for me. And it was amazing. I was like, wow, I'm going to be the biggest act in the entire thing. But now the estate of Michael Jackson comes and says, Billie Jean is too big for a magic and comedy act. So we would like Billie Jean to be respected as something like much bigger than that. So you can't do that. It was 2 days or 3 days before the show, by the way. Great. So they say, okay, we have an idea. We have the another song that we can give you. And they sent me the song. I said, that song, I can't do anything with that. However, if you want, we can reorganize the whole song and make it like edit it for.
Wow.
Jackson's work, like a box. It was a black box like this. It was protected against all like radiation, like Bluetooth, and so no one could get into that box. It was so protected, and they plug it internally to the computer that got cut from the internet, and you could see that this thing is so precious, And they opened the file, and it was all of the tracks of Michael singing just alone, and then the guitar boom, 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 and then the drums. It was amazing. And I was like, okay, cool. And the guy was sit down. He's an amazing Kevin Antunes. He was the editor for Michael Jackson. And we sit down and say, so what do you want? I was like, okay, drums, guitar, stop, and voice, yep, chorus, pop, pop, pop. And I literally like directed the Michael Jackson song.
You just rocked up to a Billie Jean buffet and said, I'll have some of this, I'll have some of that. You just filled your plate and made your own meal. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I literally made a song of Michael Jackson. I even did the sound effects myself on the song.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Michael's a genius. I really enjoy his work, and I was like, wow, that's crazy to be able to touch something like that.
To have like that, the master of his work, and then have all the individual layers of his voice and just construct that is ridiculous.
You could hear him like just alone in his headphones, like, I'm like, wow.
Far out. That's just
the greatest.
Insane.
I had something similar happen to me a little while ago. I used to be in the audio world, and we actually got original tracks of Killer Queen by Queen.
Oh, nice. Wow.
That was pretty special to see every single individual.
Fun too, yeah.
Yeah, with the level of harmonies they have, it's really exceptional when you think of that sort of thing. So the thing about music is that I think is sort of pertinent is that I was in a band for 10 years before I got into magic. So my question to you is that my relationship with music into magic is that I think of like my sleights in a close-up setting, for example. My sleights are kind of like my chords that I play as I go through my routine, and my banter and my jokes and things of that nature are kind of like my lyrics, and I slow things up and things down a little bit, and I sort of jazz in between some bits as well. This is my relationship with music. Do you identify with that at all?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit different, like depending on what format you work on. But yeah, it's totally that. It's amazing. Like like I said, the music is gonna give you the beats of what you do, and when you can hide something, when you can palm something, because at that time you get their attention and you know where it is. So and you owe that to music, I believe. Yeah, music and magic so close. Yeah.
And so how long were you in the Michael Jackson 1 show? Was it 5?
3 years.
3?
Yeah. I had my own show for 7 years, less the pandemic, which was like a year and a few months.
Yeah, and we can't just skim over that. I mean, you've done literally what, every magician grows up thinking like, oh, I want to be in Vegas, Compared to that dream of what everyone thinks it is, what is the actuality? Like, was it what you had hoped it to be? I mean, obviously doing shows with an audience is amazing, but like, I imagine there's a lot more work that comes with that and stress than maybe meets the eye.
Yeah, Vegas is an interesting place now. It's not what it used to be. So basically, what we see from Vegas is all these old performers that were paid tons of money, millions of dollars to perform in a hotel. This does not exist anymore. And that was a time where the mafia was running the hotels, and they wanted that's the truth. I mean, and they wanted the best entertainment. So they would just like, how much do you want? We're going to put a production show. You want tigers? Sure. And now the business has changed, where Vegas has become more corporates. And they're like, how much tickets can you sell? We're going to give you a share of those tickets. And that's basically how Vegas is run today. And it makes it a little more difficult for performers. I love being in Vegas because basically you stay at home, you do your projects, you do whatever you want to do. And at night you go to the show, everything's ready, you have your team, get back home like 5 minutes after the show, throw your costume out. And, that's the beauty of it. You don't have to go through security. You don't have to like get your passport. You just go to the theater and people travel to come see you, which is the beauty of it. But the reality is less glamorous than we think. It's a lot of work. I had to take care of all the marketing. I had to rent the room. I had to pay my employees, the employees of the theater that often are a union. So it's another thing to add where you have to hire that amount of people. So there's a lot of things, and a lot of people broke their teeth in Vegas, and big names. And I mean, I enjoy it. I want to keep doing it, but I love being on tour and I love doing my videos too. So I'm going to. I'm gonna manage all these things because at some point there's one thing too with Vegas that I realized after being here for 6 years is that in the magic world it's amazing because you have your show in Vegas, but in the outside world, the real world, you kind of disappear in the end because it's like when you're on social media. Today I'm on social media and millions of people are watching, like even right now. And people say, "Oh, this guy is doing some amazing magic," and they discover me and say, "Who are you? Where are you from?" And I have comments that say, "Hey, where is Chris Angel, by the way?" And he was like, "Yeah, he had a momentum on TV, and then you have your show in Vegas, and you just go to work. You don't become a star in Vegas. You are in Vegas because you are a star."
Wow,
that's a great way of putting it. You don't go there to be a star, you go there once you are a star.
Not anymore. It used to be the case. Lansbury,
right.
and Roy, they used to have that. Like I said, they had the hotels behind them. They had, and also the business in Vegas has changed a lot. Not just because of the corporate aspect of the hotels, but today the audience that goes to Vegas used to be a family audience. They used to want to attract family audience. That's why the magic shows were so important, because they would say. They would want to attract this kind of audience as either older or more family. But now it's 30 years old that's gonna buy a bottle of champagne in a nightclub, and this is the audience that they want now. And this is sports, nightclubs, headliners. When I say headliners, it's the big headliners like Katy Perry and stuff. But the live shows, the entertainment has taken a huge hit in these past years, and the COVID didn't help.
So basically, your next goal is to become a DJ in Vegas.
Oh man, hey, look, I always say that, like, why did we just choose to be a magician? I should have been a lawyer or whatever,
But we love it. We love doing it.
No, that's why. Yeah, we love it.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Oh, wow. Well, so is that kind of what flipped a switch into you going into the social media realm? Like in terms of marketing?
Yeah, no, the switch was here a long time ago. I saw already, like in 2016 or 14 when there was YouTube already. And YouTube was kind of like, okay, we can do some things, but they didn't monetize anything. So you could put your video, but you wouldn't make money. So I couldn't understand the economy of it. But then they started to monetize, and at the same time Facebook was like, hey, we're going to do the same, and Instagram started to say, hey, you can post videos on our platform. And suddenly everyone realized that people want to consume entertainment on social media. And what happens is 10 years later you realize that not only they want, but they leave TV for that, and now they watch TV while they're watching their social media things. It's crazy. So the thing is, there was no economy at the time, but in 2018, 2019, like the economy like started to really be strong on social media. I was like, yeah, that's really good, and you can have lots of reach. And I met Rick Lax, who told me, hey, you should open a TikTok because it's a thing for kids. No one's on there, because I was on Instagram, and I was like, if I post my videos, because I have ideas, but magicians, they're going to say, oh, it's not the way to do magic. And I was afraid of it. And Rick said, hey, open a TikTok account. There's only kids over there. There's no magician. So post whatever you want to do. And I was like, okay, sure. And I started to upload my videos on TikTok. And it was in 2019. No one knew about TikTok. And then 2020 arrives and everything shuts down. And I was home doing nothing. So I was like, okay, let's film more videos. And videos started to hit and hit more. And then I start to not only understand what is going to get the audience, because it looks like it's easy, but it's not. It's very like, there's a lot of things that you need to understand to do that. And but once you understand, you're like, yeah, that's how we do it. That's easy, but it's not. Oh, I'm 20%. Man, I should charge my phone. Anyways.
That's okay. Do you need a break for a second while you grab your charger?
I'm going to finish my story, and yes, then I'm going to go grab a... So, yeah, but I started to understand, not only I understood, but also I started to get the money from it. And at first I was doing little stuff in the street. I was going to Walmart. I was going to the park and doing little stuff that doesn't cost me anything. And I financed with the money that I was making on the show. But then I saw the money. I was like, oh, that's pretty good. But why don't I reinvest all that money into making something crazy and bigger and better? And I come to see my friend Joaquin Ayala, who's building big illusions. They're very expensive, but he's amazing, because every time I have an idea, he's like, yeah, we can try to do that. And wow. And I say, hey, I want to do that illusion for social media. I'm going to spend $6,000 on this, and I don't care if I get it back, because my last video made that. And I was like, okay. And we do the video, and the video got crazy, 300-400 million views, and I get 10 times what I spent, and this is amazing. And I'm like, what? And then I call and I'm like, let's build some illusions, man. This is the best thing. And that thing, that idea of like, invest in what you do to be better and bigger. I didn't invent it. Like, if you see like people like Mr. Beast, that's what they do. They make $1 million on a video, and they put it back, into the mix. And, and for me, what drove me was not, I'm going to make so much money, was, hey, I'm going to do something I'm going to be proud of.
What an exceptional story. Now, I know that you need a quick moment to get your power plugged into the phone, so go ahead and do that. And we'll politely mention our wonderful sponsor, Piper Magic. So for the sake of time this week, we want to spend as much time with Xavier as possible. So rather than doing a review, we just want to mention that there is a 50% off sale at pipermagic.com.au, in which there is an abundance of products. So please take it upon yourself to scope out pipermagic.com.au after the show and see what they have on offer. And if you also use discount code PiperFun, you get an additional discount on top of the 50% off on the products he's already offering. I actually dropped like $170 there last week. I got so carried away. There isn't, with a discount, mind you. So by all means, guys, take it upon yourselves to scope that one out.
I'm sure I will too.
There's a lot of treasure to be found.
Absolutely. This is the perfect time to have a break, because ScottiP, as we know, sent in a beautiful animation that no one has seen yet. So for those who are maybe new to the podcast, because you're here to see Xavier, when we have our podcast, we have a beautiful guy in the wings and the shadows that makes animation clips from previous episodes. And this is one of them. So please enjoy. Bob's asking if you or I, Jace, have any kangaroo injury stories.
When I used to ride my kangaroo to school, I fell out a few times. What about you, Josh? You ever fall out of your kangaroo?
Never fallen out of your kangaroo, mate. They are in the wild, like, a lot, but we don't like interact with them as much as maybe you're thinking. Most of the time, it's kangaroos fighting with cars that are driving past, but it's not usually people. For those who don't know, my grandma actually, up north of Queensland, she is a wildlife rescuer. She's a kangaroo. Yeah. No, she's like the main wildlife carer. So everyone brings like these injured animals to her, and she's always looking after like 6 joeys at a time. She'll have a baby possum that just like sits on her head. I don't know, 40 years she's been doing this. So.
Oh, fantastic. I generally still see kangaroos around my area. Like, I'm 5 kilometers from the city, but I live right on the Yarra River, which I go mountain biking down. And I can't tell you how many times I've had to like stop on the trail because there's a massive kangaroo there. Like one time, the one was acting like a bouncer. There was just it's so annoying. It was a climb covered by trees, and I had to get through a gap. It was maybe not more than about 1.5 feet, right? And the guy stood like the kangaroo just stood there, like flexing on me because those things are axed, right? It looked like they hit the gym and they pound protein powders. Yeah. And it was just stopped there, and I stopped and I look at this thing, and we stare at each other for like a good 20 seconds, and I just went, "How do you want to do this?"
Yeah,
and then it just looked at me, and then it just sort of like just moved itself around, like to be like just like swung like a door, and it was like, "You may pass." And I'm like, "Well, thank you, kangaroo, you dick."
Yeah, like thanks, mate. They're massive. They're massive here in Australia. But I love the double play on words, saying that baby Joeys. And for those listening, you got to watch it because he's made all the Joeys into the Friends character of Joey. I mean, where do you come up with this stuff, mate? It's just, stuff of a genius.
Shout out to our boy Bob Possible, who actually got his face seen on the animation. I actually had the pleasure of hanging out with Bob Possible last week. My goodness. What a genius and what a lovely person. Bob, I know you're listening right now, but you were literally the best part of my week last week. So thank you so much for hanging out. Like, it was such a pleasure. You were such a genius.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Now, I think it's time we welcome back our wonderful guests. Welcome back, Xavier.
Back. Perfect segue.
Sorry about that.
Hey, no worries. We're just glad, we've got you here amongst all your crazy touring and making videos. Someone asked, speaking of, they probably watched your last video. It comes from Ace Cunnings. Are you afraid of heights? Is that a thing?
No. Yeah, it was a crazy one. It was, you know what? You don't think about it. You just go for it, and it's 30 seconds of your life, and you have to do it. So I just did it.
So how long ago? Oh, sorry. Go on, Josh.
How long ago did you come up with your height stunt? You're levitating with your skipping ropes. Yeah.
It was 10 years ago, actually. It's funny because I I had this dream vision of someone flying with the jump rope. I don't know why. It's just, sometimes you have like little things. And it was not even a magic trick. It was just an idea. And I was like, wow, that would be cool because it would suggest that you don't have nothing around you if you skip a rope around you. And I call a friend and I tell her about the whole thing. And she's like, you've got to do that. You just have to do it. I say, but it's impossible. It's like, you got to find a way to do it because it's great. And I was in Cirque du Soleil at the time, and I go grab some things, to do my test, and I go into the park, looked like stupid, and I did it, and it worked, and I was like, well, this is one of these moments where you like, you found something. So it was miraculous, and I sent the video. She's like, that works, that's amazing, and then this has become one of my tricks that I do all the time. So yeah,
it is one of the best pieces of magic I've ever seen, and that's the thing about your magic. It's so unique and original, and there's a level of I'm not even going to call it I'm not even going to disrespect you and call it thread or anything like. I'm just going to say your magic powers that you have that we've all seen on social media. What I'm so curious about is that how do you make it happen? I have ideas where I go, I want to make this happen. And you've been able to make them happen, like every single one of them come to fruition. Is it because you are that much of a genius you can figure this out yourself? Or is it because you have a team and other resources you can lean upon? Do you get an opportunity to talk to other magic creators? Do you hang out with Steinmeier and go, I have an idea? Like, how is it you can bring all of your beautiful ideas to life? And are there any ideas that you're willing to share that are going to come to life?
Okay.
Or that couldn't come to life.
So I worked, I would say 90% alone. I just found myself doing the thing, and I kind of envisioned the whole thing. I spent, for example, today 4 hours driving around Las Vegas to find the right location for a new idea that I had. and I think I found it. So it's a lot of like looking for and going there and taking your phone and kind of like film, and then you go see the owner and it's like, hey, we're doing YouTube videos. But the tricks, it's more like, yeah, I work with so Ayala is always giving me good advices on like the technicality and, oh no, you can't do that, you can't do that, you can do it this way. We work a lot together. I work with John Sheets, who helps me too. I've been working with Danny Garcia and Rodrigo Navarro, who are here in Vegas. It's friends of mine. I like to sometimes just talk, because when you have an idea, it's not very clear, and then you want to sell it to someone, and you just talk about it, and you realize that part doesn't work, and your brain kind of like jumps and find a solution while you're talking to that person, because you want to keep their attention, and you want to get out of your like problem zone, So talking about what I do is, I would say, a lot of the work, because when I talk about it, when I say my idea to someone, I will fix it, and then I go back to my paper and sometimes that person that helped me, that listens to me, is like, oh, well, you that and that, and there's often ideas that come, but it's mostly a lone work. I wish I could work with more people. I really want a team with more people. I didn't. Sometimes I'm very specific on what I want to do, so it makes it difficult for others to enter my world. But yeah, it's a fun job, and I love doing that and being creative and getting more ideas. It's funny because at first I was afraid of not having any more ideas, because I came up with some ideas that was great, and then I had a month. I was like, I was putting 3 videos in a row that was bad. I was like, fuck, this is the end for me. This is over. And then the next month I put a video that is incredible, and then it lasts for 6 months, and then boom again, and no idea. And so it goes like this, you kind of like go in waves, and you have good ideas, and then no ideas, and then good ideas, and just keep going. And I think it's like the stock market, at the end it just go up, and this is when you're up on top, you're like, oh, this is what I did. So that's pretty cool.
Is the idea to just do every idea, like whether it's good or bad, just explore it so that it's bad, you can move on, it's good, explore it further? Like, is it just action immediately? Like, what's the thought process there?
No, there's many processes. The first process is to write down whatever I have in mind. So on my phone, on a piece of Post-it, on a paper, anywhere, and I write all these ideas, and I kind of organize them on a paper, and I put them one after another. And then every morning I would take like 20 minutes, 30 minutes. I review all the ideas. I'm like, oh, that one excites me, I'm going to work on that today. Oh, that one, that's a cool idea. And among 50 ideas, there's probably 10 that I'm going to, or maybe less, that I'm going to really be excited about. So yeah, it's not every idea that's great.
Far out. And what's the team like in video production world? You mentioned you'd like to work with more magicians, but like, how many people are involved in the Xavier team, like when you're producing something like that?
So as I said, when we build and get the ideas, I work mostly with John, Joaquin, and Rodrigo. Then the team that films, it varies, but I have 2 friends of mine who have their film production. They have good equipment, and they just come. We do just 2 people. I try to keep it small, because otherwise you go see the stores, they're like, oh, we're going to be 10 people. And they're like, oh, no, you cannot do that here. While you're like 3, if you're 3 or 4, that means me plus 2 spectators and the camera crew plus a couple lights, you're fine. They would accept more easily to do it. And shootings are usually between 1 hour and 2 hours, so we don't bother too much. 1 hour is kind of like, so the way we do it mostly is that the setup is the biggest part, because the trick, you can imagine, it's like 5 seconds at the end. But I would do my trick maybe 10 times before the spectator comes. So when they come, we can have a reaction the first time. Because if you miss your trick and then you have to redo it, the reaction is going to be fake. So the second time is okay, but the third time you're like, that's it.
Yeah,
you wasted your time today. So.
That's something really important I think people need to understand too, is you mentioned, the store that you're shooting in has to say yes or no. So obviously, it's almost like you're treating your videos like a TV show, like a segment, right?
Yeah.
So the production, the planning, the scouting for a place, they actually have to say, yes, you can do this here. But amongst all of that production, the spectator is still unknowing of what's going to happen, which is crazy, because a lot of, times when this is a show and being filmed and stuff, like, unfortunately, they probably do know what's happening and they have to still like try and, enjoy the magic. But
it's always the law of who's going to be the bigger audience. Do you want to do a show for 2 people who are going to be here that, are going to forget anyways? Or do you want to do it for millions of people who are going to see you? So yes, they're not aware. Why? Because we want to treat it like it's real. We want to treat it like hyper reality. We want to make sure that the audience reacts to a real magic trick. Now, do they see what the audience sees on the camera? Not always. Why? Because the angles, because of this and because of that, because you work for the camera and not for them, and you want to still have them in the shot. So sometimes I would say they would see a sleeve or a top it or whatever, But what I've noticed is that in the end, the performance is king. Because when I do the lemon orange canary, it's such a dance, and I go here and I take the egg and it disappears, and then poof, the bird appears, and the girl is like, what, and they know they have seen part of little things, but still the performance is great, and also it's calculated to look great for the camera at the same time. We want the audience, we want the millions of people to see the best. And it's the same when you go to a concert and suddenly they film the concert, and suddenly they say, hey guys, we're gonna redo that song over, okay? And they know that the people at the concert are gonna forget about that. But in the end, this is the millions of people who are gonna watch the concert, are gonna say something seamless just because the guitarist messed up at this point,
So smart. Yeah, so well thought out too. I mean, that you found like the best way to do it. Like, even if they see some things, if at least there's a big ending that they had no idea about, they're still going to react, and it's still going to play off to the viewers.
Yeah.
Wow. So do you even need a Netflix special, or you're probably getting the same amount of views pumping out these segments on your own channels?
No, you're getting better. You're getting more views than if you had a Netflix special. That's for sure. 100%. However, now here's the thing. Social media, when you see the numbers, and I can say, like the jump rope that you were talking about, I think it got 150 million on Facebook. It's over 30 or 40 million on YouTube. I would say another 20 on TikTok and 60 on Instagram. So that would place it around 300 million views. All right. Mm-hmm. It's amazing. It's great. And it's incredible. But you have to realize you're not talking about 340 million people who live in the US, or how many are in Australia, right? How many people, like 30, 40 million do you have?
Yeah, we got a couple. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So, or 60 million that are in France. We're talking about 6 billion people, 8 billion. Let's not count the Chinese because they cannot watch anyways. But we're talking about like a lot of people. So the number... it's like you're a fish in a much bigger pond, So it's harder to get famous, but everyone knows you all around the world. There's a video that I did. It's incredible. I did a pedal to egg, and I see the analytics and who watched my video. And that video had like 30% of the viewers were in Uzbekistan. And I was like, what? And I'm sure there's tons of people who know me in Uzbekistan, and I've never been there, and I will probably never go there.
Is that the metric you would use in order to like maybe plan a tour? Because there's a lot of people on our chat asking, when are you going to tour and come and visit us? Would you use a metric like that to say, hey, Uzbekistan, we've got some fans there. Let's do some shows there. Let's go to Oz. You would?
100%.
Everybody needs to.
I don't know if I have. I never see Australia in my analytics, but I know, for example, that when I went to Mexico, a lot of people knew me. I know Brazil is very big, India too. So there's countries like that that pop out in my analytics, but and US of course is always the first one. Funnily, no one in France is.
Wow, they're like, oh, you've left us.
Yeah, exactly. No, there's a lot of people, but France is such a small country that even if there's a large percentage of the population, it's going to be 1 million people who follow you from France, and while you have like 20 million in the US, it doesn't, you can't see it at the bottom of the thing. So, but comparatively, you have a bigger audience here, and I don't know about Australia, but definitely, if I go on tour, what I'm going to do is I'm going to check my Facebook and Instagram and say, hey, whoever is in Australia, I'm going to send a message that I'm on tour and hopefully sell tickets. Yeah, it's amazing. The power of that is tremendous.
Do you find a difference in your videos, Xavier, when you're speaking and not speaking? Some videos, it's quite heavy and it's like, watch this, come here, like you're going through the pane of glass at the bus stop. Yeah. Is there a difference in views because of the language?
Yeah, of course. Like, for example, I just released, like you were talking about Netflix. So I wanted to have my Netflix show, and I did I treat my YouTube like a Netflix show. And I released an episode. It's a real episode. Like you would see that episode, you say, yeah, that would have been a Mind Freak or a David Copperfield special. You can check, it's the last video that I released on YouTube. The jump rope was part of it, and the thing with the lemon that was dancing around. So I did a full storytelling episode with a theme and everything. And that video got less views than the pure like visual performances. Why? Because there's a lot of talking and it's an English audience they're going to follow. Like all the Spanish people, they're not going to like click on the thing, even though I have some visual elements. But when I do my TikToks and the short videos on YouTube, there's nothing to understand. So you just watch the thing and it goes everywhere in the world. So yeah, this is where you get the big numbers.
Wow. You've heard it here, folks. Someone asked as well, do you speak more than, like how many, or obviously you do, but how many languages do you speak? Just 2 or a few? Or
No, I speak a few languages. I've been touring in Europe. We've got many of them. So, and also Japan and Korea, I learned a little bit. So, yeah.
Wow. So do you learn to do your specific act in those languages, or you can?
Yeah, I'm going to Saudi Arabia next weekend. They sent me the script in Arabic. I'm not saying I'm going to say no. I'm not saying I'm going to say it all in Arabic, but the beginning, salam alaikum, all these things, I can do it. It's just a bunch of words. You learn them by heart, and
I wonder what Arabic with a French accent sounds like. That's got to be one of a kind.
Yeah, right.
I just imagine it sounds sexually aggressive, kind of in a cool way. I'm looking forward to it.
Now, Xavier, we have people send in voicemails, like voice messages to us. And we have a gentleman named Alex from Greece. Well, he lives in Scotland, but he's from Greece. Very thick, heavy accent. Yeah, and he sent in a question. We're just going to play it, and hopefully we'll see what answer we come up with. Thank you, Alex.
Hello, Xavier and Magic Guys. My name is Alex Kouvatas, and my question for you, Xavier, is, what is a close-up or a parlor trick that you personally believe most magicians perform poorly, and what would your approach be if you wanted to improve it by 75%? Also, thank you for elevating magic in such high grounds. Have a good day, everybody.
Alex, ladies and gentlemen, very specific too. You have to improve the effect by 75% or the magic plot.
Not 74.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts? Is there an effect or plot you think is maybe being approached the wrong way by magic or presented?
I mean, there's so many magicians with so many versions of every trick that it's hard to come up with something better than anyone. Do I have personally something in close-up or parlor that I improved? I mean, it's a lot about the presentation in the end. It's a lot like the effect is the effect. You can improve the effect. It's not going to affect any of the audience perception. It's more like, why do you do that? I think you could improve my way of improving 75% on any trick would be to justify it. Why do you do that? What is the reason why you want me to choose a card or get this thing in my hand? So that's what's gonna make the difference. And every time I do a trick, every time I do a performance, and you can look at my videos and my shows and everything, there's always a reason behind it. And this is why I do very seldomly card tricks, because to me it appears that when you start a card trick, it's like, hey, I'm going to do a trick, so that's the reason. And I can't find any other reason except if I'm at a poker table and I change the cards in aces, which is, oh, that's magical. Yeah, if I was a magician, I would do that. So that's my way of improving the tricks.
It's like Harry Potter wouldn't carry around a deck of cards if he's doing magic.
Yeah.
Right, I guess.
No, that's it. That's the way that I see magic. I want to be able to say, hey, what if I was a real magician? How would I do that? This effect is amazing. Why would I do that? Just to trick people or to make them feel some magical moment in their life.
You certainly present your magic as someone who just has magic happening around them constantly.
Yep.
Do you genuinely walk about life doing that? Like when you go to the grocery store, do you genuinely take an apple or an orange and be like, this is ripe enough, and then you pretend to put it in the basket and they go, excuse me, and you're like, it's here still? Like, do you genuinely do that playfully on a day-to-day basis?
No, it's a lot of setup, so you have to I mean, I would love to.
Yeah.
I would love to. Let's say I'm doing it, in my dreams. No, it was a lot of setup. So, but yeah, of course. I mean, who doesn't? Like, you'd never go to a bar and you just do this, and it's.
I think a good question is Ace Cunnings here is saying, like, what is your go-to effect, or what is your everyday carry? Is there something that you do like?
Yeah,
taking?
And I use it. I even use it in my videos. I never filmed that effect for real, but the double cross one is just an amazing thing that happens instantly, that kills everyone instantly. So what I do is I always have it in my pockets when I film, and when the spectator waits, like for example, we're fixing the lights or something, I do the double cross and it kills them. And so now I have grown to make them believe in magic.
Ah, beautiful. Actually, that's very pertinent, because we do a segment on here called Gig Stories, where we tell just a crazy story that happened at a show or an event. And I've got one that's just like what you're like, with that same prop. Maybe we'll do this segment, and we'll give Xavier. We'll go first, Nick, you and I, so David gets a chance, because we didn't tell him about this. But the idea is like to think of one of your shows or gig or something where just something wild happens. Can be good and or bad. But let me find, here's our little stinger.
So gig stories, of course, as you mentioned, is just a little moment in magic between gigs or just day-to-day life. We just want to share these stories with you fine people for posterity, starting with Josh. I'm dying to hear your story.
Yeah, so you already mentioned double cross. Now, I have a habit of losing mine, because like it's just a Sharpie, so it's so easy for it to fall out. So I'm on my third one now. So I only buy them because I've lost them. So I bought one, but I love to do a presentation with the heart version.
Oh, yeah.
And because I only just got my new one ordered, I hadn't actually adapted it to the heart yet, but I went to my event and I did the whole presentation with the heart. So I drew this heart on flash paper, I do this whole presentation, disappears, and I open the hand and it's a cross. However, but what's funny is my brain didn't compute that I'd done it wrong. Like I hadn't clicked that I'd done something wrong. And they reacted the same way they would react.
Yeah.
No difference. And it wasn't until I was driving home that I went, oh my God, I did that so wrong. But hang on, everyone still reacted the exact same way. And it kind of threw me for a loop. I was like, so is there even a point? Like, does it matter? what shape it is. Like, it's just that something was there. That was really the effect. But anyway, that was just my little brain fart moment. Didn't change it, but they still reacted.
What if you drew a penis and that happened? That would be so crazy.
Yeah, they'd still react, you know. But yeah, that's
like,
my
wow.
that's my gig story. What do you got, Nick?
I just have a neat little story that I think is a very cute moment. So I was performing at one of my residencies, and I come across this lovely young lady who had just sort of exuded some high anxiety based sort of, you know, being in the public, and a lot of people suffer from that sort of type of thing. And I was doing my coin magic as I love doing, and after I was finished performing, I handed her one of my Morgans. And she was like, "Oh, I love these," like, because she's very textural, because she had autism. She was explaining to me. And it was just very, and she was like, "Oh, I love stuff like this because I just find it really calming." And I watched her from being like so nervous about being around so many people to just being so calm. And she was like, "I wish I had something like this." And I just said to her, "Would you like to keep it?" And she was like, "Seriously?" And I said, "Yes." Like, so I let her keep one of my Morgan dollars, which, I mean, I buy them seldom and they're quite expensive, but I was just like, "Keep that." I go, "And just remember me." That's all I ask. And she was so happy that she just like hugged me. And I hope that she still has it to this day. And I hope that when she's out in public and she is feeling that little bit nervous, that she holds that coin, thinks of me, and is able to make it through those situations.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Look at that. And I'm sure she still has it till this day. Wow.
Yeah, I hope so.
Now, Xavier, what have you got? Surely you've done some, you know, events for billionaires where it's just like it's wild, or like a show, just something crazy's happened. Some drunk person's done something. What can you tell us?
There's one thing that that's gonna bounce onto your story. A long time ago, I was performing for a very famous writer in France, and I did the book tests, and I missed the words. It was the wrong words that I predicted. It was an impromptu one, you know, where you see the number of the pages, but I didn't realize that I missed it. And he played with me. This is the worst. He even played with me, and everyone was like, like you said, everyone's like, "Oh, that's amazing." And after that, I think I realized that I had it wrong or something. That's something that happened that I knew was wrong.
Oh, no.
And then after the show, he's like, the thing is like, "Yeah, you know, I figured because, you know, I didn't want to put you in a bad situation." But I realized that everyone and the whole energy and everything was like so believing in like this, you know, how you spread your energy. And this is why I think your cross worked, because you were like dog henning. Wow, this is so cool.
That's so true. Oh, wow. I mean, a book.
Yeah. So, but anyways, the story that I have, maybe not it's pretty crazy, but it's maybe not the best one. I was doing my jump rope act and I fell on my head. I was spinning in the air. I fell on my head and I went blackout. and the curtain closes and I don't realize that because I'm passed out. And people think it's the end of the show. Like, "Oh, cool." And I had a review on TripAdvisor saying the next day they said the end was weird.
Holy.
Like, yeah. And I wake up in the dressing room like with people like going crazy around me. "Hey, what's happening? You fell," and you know. So.
Holy.
Wow.
Because how high are you in your show? Because obviously you got a roof, like you're only limited to a certain height.
I was in a smaller room, so I was not that high, which prevented me from actually dying. But but yeah, it was. I changed the system since then that I will never get into that problem again.
Wow. I remember seeing that clip of Pink on tour, and like she uses wiring and stuff to go over the audience, and one came apart and it just threw her to the side because of the tension. And like, you got to be careful with that. Anything that's, you know, putting you at risk. Like, what do you think we've seen some of the greatest magicians shove a spike through their hand now. Darren Brown's done it. David Blaine's done it, but he likes to do it. what are your thoughts on like putting yourself at risk for
Your art.
the art?
I mean, why not? This is what we do.
Why not?
No. I mean, we have to do it. It's if we don't want to do it, we don't do it. And if it's our choice and it helps us like fulfilling something, I mean, why not? And I respect a lot what Blaine does. I think sometimes it's too much and it's too much risk for whatever he gets from the audience. Like, what about you do foam balls in sponge balls, but no, you wanna spike your hand or getting a bullet for real in your mouth. And I think it's amazing because it fulfills something for him. It makes him being who he is. Does he get like too much attention from that? No, you won't get attention because you're crazy. But I mean, yeah, you can get it different ways. But I would do it, and I've done it. Yeah.
So, I mean, there's certainly like a risk to reward with what you're talking about. But Tim asked the question that after your fall, how much downtime did that cause? Like, how long did that set you back?
Nothing. Next show I was on, and this is not the only time actually that I fell. I do a thing with shadows, where I play with my shadows, and during that act I'm spinning like 90 degrees, and one day I fell on my head again. That's my be why I'm so now.
At least that one is like very close to the ground,
it was
right?
That much
the rotation.
I fall on my head and I kind of like twist my neck and I'm like, and I was walking like this, and I go see the chiro. Like it was like 3 hours before the show, and it was in France, and I go see the chiro and he goes clack, boom, clack, and he's like, okay, 2 weeks out. And I was like, okay. And I take my prescription and I go back to the room and he said, what did he say? He said, it's okay. And we did the show.
I think you keep hitting your head because your brain is so dense and so brilliant and so filled with beautiful ideas of magic that like, I'm surprised you don't walk around with like your neck bent the whole time, which is why you just keep hitting it. Like I'm trying to hold up all the amazing magic in my brain, you guys. Sorry about that. It just keeps falling around.
Wow. So moving forward for that, because we've got like maybe another 5 minutes of time here with Xavier, and anyone left, throw some questions in here who's watching this live. We'd love to answer them with you here. But moving forward, you're doing so much, and you've obviously spent so much time working on your acts that you perform live, and now you're also putting so much time into your online shows and performances and pieces. Like, where do you find your time moving forward? Like, what's your focus?
I really want to keep going online and do better and better magic. I think this is the future, and I think this is the momentum that I have. I'm doing less shows right now, but I still love performing. So yeah, that's the future. And let's say when I've done what I wanted to do online and everything, I might go back to perform every day in Vegas or something. Yeah.
Then you'll be at that level you talked about where you're such a global star that you can go back to Vegas again.
Or not, you never know. But yeah, you definitely go back to Vegas to have your regular gig, and that's a fun thing to do, until you want to stop for forever. It's funny because I don't know you, but my entire life since I'm 20, I was not supposed to be a magician. I never intended to be a magician. I never dreamt of being a magician. And every year I'm like, why should I stop now? Or, like, what drives me? Like, why would I continue doing that?
Well, off the back of that, you were saying, like, like, when do you stop? Do you ever see yourself getting a protege or a student? Like, and if you did, like, what sort of qualities would you like in that student? How long would it take to bring him up to your level? Like, do you ever think about that?
Well, I think I'm not at this like stage in my life. I think it's like something that you see coming naturally when you get older, I guess, like Jeff McBride and people like that, who even Ayala, I feel like, Ayala took kind of like care of me because he's like, oh, this young kid, he wants to do it. And he's got the ideas and he has the drive. So let's do it with him. And he's passing along a lot of his knowledge, and maybe it's going to happen, maybe not. And I mean, this is another stage of life. Life is interesting at every little stage, I guess.
Yeah. And for the magicians watching this, they'll I included, dream of having the success both in performing and videos. But like, if we talk about videos for a moment, like, what is there a framework, like a general framework that you think magicians should try to approach when making videos? Like, obviously you need them to stop somewhat, you know, stop the scroll to watch you. But
there's I can give you a few advices. There's actually a lot, but I'm gonna give you the big points. So first, don't wave and say your name. I've seen so many magicians do that. It doesn't work. People don't care. They want to see content. They don't care about you. They care about what they're gonna see. They want to be entertained. So start with the magic. Start with something that's gonna say, I'm going to do this. For example, if you have to, if I come and there's two girls and I pick up something from like an egg from her hand or an orange, it's like, oh, there's a situation, a guy is doing that, and what's gonna happen? So you have to keep them engaged. You have to say, oh, I want to see what's gonna happen. Okay, so you kind of tell a story. When you pick a card, you already know what's gonna happen. That's why it doesn't work online. That's why you never see a magician doing a card trick going viral, because if you say pick a card, you know the magician is going to get it, so you're not interested. Next. And I'm going to watch a video about artificial intelligence, for example. That's more interesting. So that's the what is going to happen is very important. Like, it has to be something that's going to be like, what? You will not. And you can watch, like, someone you should follow and watch is Mr. Beast if you want to learn how to make videos, because he gives all his secrets online, and he's very generous with that. So that then you have to finish at the end. You can't like put your logo and stuff, like, just finish. That's it. Why? Because people are not going to watch your logo. They're not interested in your name again. They're going to click on you and say, who is this guy? I have one person who follow me every 1,000 views, I think, or something, or 10,000 views. I don't remember.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, but that's the law. That's the game. And everyone's the same, except if you're a cute girl who dances half naked in your room, you have more followers. But in my niche, this is what it is. So that one person, this is the person that I want to touch, because that person is going to follow me. They're going to remember my name. They're going to watch my videos. They're going to buy my merch. They're going to go see my show. Mm-hmm. And the other ones, I don't care if they don't see my logo. They just see me, and at some point they're going to remember me after. So that's the second thing. The third thing, be visual. If you talk too much, you're going to have a niche that is restricted. But it's good, still good. And invest in your videos. Oh yeah, that's a good point. Like, I always work a lot on the lighting and the sound. Like, I can hear my videos that I did at the beginning. I'm like, oh, that's awful. But now I know exactly. I know exactly how to light and how to put the sound, so it still look like it's made at home, or it's made like, take my phone and film me, but it's very, very produced. And you have to have that quality, because people are not mistaking. They're going to see the difference.
How important is the quality of content that you put versus the frequency? Because some people just have this notion that you got to just keep putting content 3 bits a day, 4 times a week, 8 times a week. Like, what do you think?
So I had this discussion with someone at YouTube recently, because that's what he said to me. He's like, you're doing so great, man. We're so proud of you. And he said, but could you upload more? And I was like, yeah, but like, the tricks and the hours I put in every video is just insane. I cannot do more than that. I'm already working from morning to night. But if you look at my videos, on YouTube, for example, I probably have like maybe 5 videos under 1 million views, and every video is like boom, boom, boom. And this is what he said we call unicorns. So there's a different approach. Either you're like someone that I really enjoy, who does a great job, is Mark Rober. I don't know if you heard of him. He's on the internet and he publishes every month. But every time he publishes, it's like 20 million, 30 million, and it's amazing. It's quite high quality. And there's the other influencer who have a wider range. It's easier to produce videos because sometimes they're just based on just talking or comedy or visual things that like Kaby Lime, the guy super famous, the black guy super famous. It's super easy for him to produce a face like that. It's more easy than coming up with a new magic trick every time. So at that point you can miss, because if you publish 3 videos a day, after 3 days, you're going to have a video that hits. So it's a different approach, but both works. The only thing that you have to know is there's no time to post. You just post and you go. The algorithm is going to do the same. You can try to have an audience tuning in like you do with a live show because you're building an audience. But if you just post your videos, just go for it. It doesn't matter if it's 8 in the morning, or it's going to go faster if it's 8 in the morning in the US, which is, I don't know what time in Australia, probably 12 or something now. So if it's better at that time because a wide portion of the world is awake. So that means there's more people on social media. But so your video is going to be high fast, but then it's going to get a dip. But other than that, the time doesn't matter.
Yeah, so just give it a try. Once you figure out like the thing that's working for you, then enhance the quality on that, right? Which is exactly what we're seeing from Xavier. And look, I understand Xavier's time is very tight today. He literally ran to the podcast today so he could fit it in. And we thank you so much, man. We're going to, guys, keep putting your comments after this and we'll get back to you, and follow Xavier. All his links are in the description below. But Xavier, thank you so much for coming on, my friend. We normally end the segment with this thing called the final word, where you give like some kind of advice to magicians. I feel like you've given so much to everyone already, but we're going to play this little stinger. And if you have like one, sentence that you want to end with a bit of advice, we'll end the show with that. So ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching the show. And here is the final word. Take it away.
Oh, sorry. It was my turn?
Yeah, perfect advice. Always be ready. No.
Okay. No, I was totally not ready. Final word. Well, no, I haven't. I just wanted to thank you for having me. So, it's a great pleasure. And I hope I come to Australia one day.
Please do.
Did I tell you the story? I had a story in Australia, actually. So I went to Adelaide, but I have a friend in Adelaide. And this friend is a lawyer, and he's a lawyer for the Aborigines. And he brings me to the desert in Coober Pedy, which is next to Alice Springs. And he's like, oh, we're going to visit the thing because I have to, they produce a TV show and they don't want to do the thing on the sacred site. So I have to defend them. So we go there and he's like, hey, if you want to stay with the Aborigines, you can. I was like, sure, I'm going to stay here a couple of days. So I stay, and they kind of like super cold with me and they don't want to have to deal with me. So I have my little room here and I just stay. And one day I'm like, hey guys, I'm going to leave because I was bored and there was nothing to do and they were not very nice with me. And I said, no, can you stay tonight? We have a party with the girls that go to the city, Adelaide. This is the first generation that goes to study. I was like, sure. And at night, of course, and the ending, I bring my magic tricks and I do magic. And suddenly those guys, they become my best friends. It's amazing. And the guys, like, they hold me like, hey, we're going to show you the sacred site. And then next morning we wake up at 6 a.m. and we go with the Jeep in the desert. Like they were hunting wallabies and going to the sites. That was crazy. So magic is magic.
Wow, that's it. Magic is magic. That's such a great story. I mean, you can connect with anyone, anywhere, right? If you share a moment like that, it's beautiful. Well, thank you so much again, Xavier. Guys, you can rewatch this episode anytime on Spotify and iTunes, and you can follow Xavier everywhere. And until next time, my friends, stay well. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for listening. It's time for us to disappear now. But we'll see you again on the next episode of The Magic Guys.